Hi Colles, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are good today. In the last game against Betis, Ferran Torres did extremely well in his half space, not kind of number 10 position. And in this video, we're going to talk about how that position might be solving a lot of problems for FC Barcelona. We're going to look at his number 10 position and also for the defense. But as always, guys, please do subscribe to the channel, as that's going to help the channel a lot to grow and get even bigger than it already is. We post weekly content on FC Barcelona and we focus on tactics. Let's get right into the video. First of all, Ferran Torres' positioning actually helps with the creativity that Barcelona often struggles with, right? Especially with the fact now that we have Gundogan and Frenkie de Jong so deep. And like I said in the previous video, specifically Pedri, I hope he can do the same things that Ferran do. And Ferran is not really confined to this one space. Ferran is doing all sorts of moving, right? And if we can have Pedri and Ferran swapping positions, that would be really great for Barcelona to do. So, like I said, the fact that we have Frenkie and Gundogan so deep, guys that are often so good on the ball, Ferran Torres actually solves this position or this problem that Barcelona have. So the creativity is on point. Like I said, all over the pitch, he's like decomposing, or how can you say, like pulling the opposition in all sorts of ways and different directions with his positioning. For an example, what we talked about, the fact that he was able to keep this guy off of Frenkie de Jong in this case, right? Because this guy was actually, he had two players to mark, and that helped Barcelona a lot in the build-up, right? So if he would stay on the likes of Gundogan or Frenkie de Jong and this guy presses the center backs, Ferran can easily receive the ball. So that is the classic number 10 that we often saw from Lionel Messi. So the creativity is the one big thing that this position would solve. And I would like to see Ferran on the right side and maybe Joao Felix on this side, right? And then with Joao Cancelo and Balde keeping the width, maybe resting Lamine Yamal. So that is the kind of things that I want to see from Barcelona, So Ferran's positioning solves the creativity problems that we might encounter. I noticed something crazy in this game in particular. The movement of Ferran actually made this double pivot made sense, in the fact that Isco was sometimes alone, like we explained. Go watch the first video if you want a little bit more context. Because Ferran was so circulating, it actually prevented these guys to go upward and press. You know what I said in the beginning, right? Because he had to stay in position, because otherwise Ferran would be able, if he would go up to press, Ferran could then receive the ball in acres of space in that position. So Ferran was actually keeping a lot of these guys away from the double pivot, and that is why Gundogan and Frenkie had such a great game, and they had numerical advantage over Isco in this position. Now, this is what I said. I wanted Pedri to do pretty much the same like Ferran was doing. That would keep these two guys from pressing, right? It would keep them from pressing, and therefore the numerical advantage is up for Barcelona. And that is where you also saw that Henrik had to come infield to press Gundogan so that they can actually have a 2-on-2. But that just opened up this youngster to come, and of course together with Ferran, you could easily have a 3-on-2 situation. And this is what I was talking about. Should we use Ferran as a number 10? And that is why I said maybe Xavi is definitely watching my videos, because after I mentioned that, Ferran was playing number 10. So yeah, you can do with that what you want, or make of it what you want, but I think Xavi is definitely watching my videos. You can clearly see Ferran Torres in between the lines behind their midfielders, their pivot, and watch how they cannot go up to Frenkie de Jong or to Gundogan, right? Because the moment they do that, that leaves Ferran Torres in acres of space. Even Lewandowski is open. I would prefer Lewandowski in between the center backs, but yeah, in between the lines. And look at how ready he is. He's all over the pitch. And this is the time where Frenkie and Gundogan actually had time on the ball. So this is excellent. We often know when Barcelona is building up from the back, and teams often tend to press Barcelona on fully. Barcelona had this, how can I say now, we had this tendency to go straight to Robert Lewandowski, right? Or we would pass the ball around and then Lewandowski would drop deep to get the ball. But Lewandowski loses the ball so much because these guys have the license to come onto them, because we have all of our players so deep. But that has changed with Ferran Torres and this positioning, this number 10 position, right? Because Lewandowski is now the number 9, of course, and Ferran Torres tend to be much more centrally, like you just saw in the previous frame, right? This guy actually keeps these guys away from the likes of Frenkie de Jong and Gundogan, and we did see that they didn't have like a flat pivot, they were actually much more fluid. So instead of us playing the ball straight into Lewandowski, Varane being central can actually come into that area, and when these guys press, they can play the ball straight into Ferran Torres. These guys cannot come up to actually press or whatever, because that would just open up space for Lewandowski. Because in previous game, I felt like Robert Lewandowski wants to get too involved. You know, sometimes he's even on the line over here. But this number 10 position changes everything. That's why with Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez, it worked so well, because Suarez was pushing back the back line, right? Suarez also did some moving, but Suarez was much more like much more dynamic than Robert Lewandowski. But I think this position of Ferran Torres actually does some serious damage to your position, as one of the pivots cannot actually go up. And this actually allows Pedri to also go a little bit deeper and have numbers back. You, of course, remember what happened in the days of Barcelona, where Xavi came deep to help Busquets. But now we already have Frenkie de Jong, who's already deep, right? So this allows our midfield trio to actually be a lot more deeper, and actually it allow these guys to like circulate in Ferran Torres, and he could be a direct outlet, right? And you know what happened when Ferran Torres is also running through and running in behind, right? So it's just excellent. We can't go wrong with this, guys. Ferran Torres needs to start, and he needs to play this role that he had in the previous game. I hope Xavi uses him like that again in the next game. Remember how I mentioned to you guys that when Ferran Torres will be playing, we will be able to press so much better, because Ferran is really good at pressing, and I think he learned it from Pep Guardiola. So I would imagine that Robert Lewandowski can stay a little bit deeper. I would even put Ferran and Lamine up high, you know, to have us like a central press. But we of course know that Xavi would never do that. Ferran and Lewandowski is probably going to be the two guys that presses up front, and then you have Pedri and Gundogan or Frenkie de Jong, whoever play up there. But I still suggest that Barcelona should press with the 3-2-5 shape, because it's just so much easier because of the outlets. Teams often go through their wings. But like I said, Ferran Torres is going to be easy the second best player in terms of pressing after Gavi. I think with Ferran Torres, like I mentioned in previous videos, it's just going to be excellent to have somebody like him, because he's quite good at the pressing, and you saw against Betis, right? But as always, guys, please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot, and we've really been growing the last few months. So thank you very much for that. And in the next video, I'm going to make an announcement to say thank you, update you guys about the channel. But as always, guys, like I said, leave a like and a comment. I would love to hear what you guys think about Ferran Torres and in his game. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.